Well, hello everyone. It's Karen McDermott Rolfe, independent advisor with Creative Memories, and I am so thrilled to be back in 2025 for a brand new year of sharing with you. Today I'm going to share a scrapbooking technique and a layout, and I'm going to challenge all of you to use my technique and layout to create your own layout. Take a photo of your layout and share it with me in Facebook in my private group, Karen's Croppers, for an entry into my January door prize drawing. While you're in Karen's Croppers, go to the album section and you're going to look for the album titled Technique Tuesday number 66. That's 66, you guys. This is the 66th technique that I have shared with you guys. So in Karen's Croppers there in that album section, it is a great reference library of scrapbooking ideas for you. And of course, you can find many of the videos for those techniques right here in my YouTube channel. So make sure that you subscribe to my channel and also click that little bell icon and you'll receive notifications every time I add a new video. You can also find more of my layouts on my blog at karencrops.com and all of the different information about the events that I hold, different ways to purchase with me. And also I have some on-demand page classes that you might like, so make sure to check out those on-demand page classes. Those are going to be a little bit more involved than the layouts that I'll typically share on YouTube. They'll take a little bit more time to complete. They're a little bit more layered and detailed, so make sure to check those out. But something new that I'm going to add this year for these monthly technique layouts is that I'm going to share a printable handout with you. I have been asked many times if I had handouts for these technique layouts that I've been sharing with you. And this year I decided I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try to do that for you. So you're going to watch the video and then you can go to my blog at karencrops.com, look for the post for this video, and then you can download that handout. So along with the handout and watching the video, you're going to be able to easily create my layouts. And I just wanted to thank everyone for all of your purchases and your support of my Creative Memories business at creativememories.com/user /Karen, and it's Karen with a Y. And just in case you didn't know, I offer a generous customer rewards program, and that rewards program began anew on January 1st. So every time you make a purchase with me using my Creative Memories website link, or for those of you in person with me, you'll receive information about my customer rewards program. So today I'm going to share a layout that's going to feature some tearing. That's going to be the first technique that we do this year. And I'm using the Flurry of Fun collection. So I'm using some paper from this collection. I've already been using it, so I don't have very many sheets left. And I am also going to use my Flurry of Fun Artsy add-on kit. We'll talk about this add-on kit a little bit later here in the video in case you're not familiar with them. They are a great new product that Creative Memories added last year to the product line, and maybe some of you haven't seen it yet. So I'll tell you a little bit more about this as we get to it, okay? I've used a tearing tool. Over the years, Creative Memories has had several tearing tools. I just grabbed this one, so it doesn't matter which one you use. If you do not have a tearing tool, just use a 12-inch ruler, and that'll help guide your tears, okay? So to get a little peek here at what I'm creating, it's just all kind of laid out right now. So we're going to finish the steps, and then we're going to go ahead and adhere and create the layout. So this is kind of what I'm working on right now. So let me just pull these pieces aside. And we're going to finish with the tearing. So I've selected 2 sheets here of this designer paper to use for the layout. I'm going to use this blue swirly paper as the background, and then the paper with the blue paper with the little white dots that looks like snow is going to be the sheet that we tear. Now, I want to point out one thing before you start tearing this sheet of paper, is that it is double-sided, and we're going to want the gray also, because we're going to use the double-sided. So it's gray with some snowflakes and little snow flecks also. So make sure that the paper is in this kind of vertical position when you tear, because we want to use this portion If you had your paper this way, you're going to get some of that snow on the bottom, okay? So make sure your paper's that way. And we're just going to tear some narrow strips. Now, the thing with tearing and a tearing technique is the white edge is what it's all about. So if you notice here, see that pretty torn edge that gives great detail, great texture. This is what we want. Now, look at it turned upside down. This strip does not have any of that white torn edge, so I don't think it's quite as interesting. Let's take a close-up look if you'll see what I mean. Okay, so I'm going to be showing you how to tear to get the white edge on both sides of your strip, okay? But on this strip, we're going to use it on the reverse side, that gray side, that does have the white edge on both sides, okay? So the last strip that I tore, I think, was this gray one. I started with the blue and the gray, so I've already got a torn edge started on my paper. So I want to tear the left edge on my strip, okay? So I am going to place the tearing tool just a little bit over. You know, my strips are pretty narrow here, maybe 1/4 of an inch. No, they're probably more than 1/4 inch, about 1/2 an inch to 3/8 of an inch, I'd say. So I'm just going to kind of come over here on my paper, come over a little ways, and lay the tearing tool down like this, okay? And then we're going to tear the paper towards us and tear it down. If it works easier for you to tear up, you could do that also. And what we're going to have is the paper that's left behind is the paper that's going to have the white edge. There, you can see it being revealed right now, okay? And I'm kind of being careful here with this sheet as I pull it. I'm trying not to bend it or wrinkle it, keeping it nice and straight as possible. And then you'll see here with my right hand, I'm holding down that tearing tool so it doesn't slide on me. Now you'll notice that my tears are not exactly going in all of the little valleys of this tearing tool. That's okay, right? And now when I remove the tearing tool, I'm going to have that white edge strip on both sides. There we go. It's maybe a little wider than I would have liked it, but that's okay, okay? So now my next sheet, or my next strip, I want a gray one. So let's turn the paper over to the gray side, and we're going to do the same thing. So on the gray side, we have this white edge revealed. Let's just come over a little ways, maybe not as far over as we did last time. Place the tearing tool, and then let's tear this again. And we know that that white edge is going to be on the strip there, the paper that's left behind. And I felt the paper kind of shifted on me a little bit because I needed to scoot my hand further down on that tearing tool to hold it. Okay, so this strip is more like I like it, a little bit narrower, so that's really good. So now we're going to flip it back over. Let's just put our strips aside there. We have a white edge on the blue, and let's do a narrow blue strip, again, by placing that tearing tool here. Just kind of move my hand down further there, pause a minute. There we go. Okay. I thought these strips, they reminded me of just kind of icicles, snow, that white edge we're getting. It looks like snow drifts on the white. I was thinking, you know, to use them vertically, again, kind of mimicking snowfall coming down or ice coming down. You could use the strips horizontally also. So let me kind of lay some of this out just to see where we're at and how many more that I need to tear. They are a little curved and they'll be a little unwieldy to work with at first. So that's 5 strips. I think I'm going to do 5 on this right side, and let's see, I might be able to do 2 or 3 narrow strips if I'm lucky for the other side. So let's try to go narrow with and do 3 more strips, okay? Because I want to use this paper that I'm tearing, I do want a wide center kind of panel to use from the remaining portion of this paper that we don't tear. Kind of have the layout thought out in my mind. I don't have, sometimes I'll make the layout ahead of time and I'll have one to show you before we start creating. But this time we're creating as we go. So we'll have to see how it all works out. Sometimes that's a little risky. So it works out in my mind. Let's hope it works out in reality, right? So if you didn't catch that intro that I gave, I talked about this year I'm going to start offering a free downloadable handout to go along with these technique layouts and videos that I do. You're going to be able to get those handouts on my blog at karencrops.com. Okay, in case you missed that. I know sometimes you might just kind of fast forward right over that opening. Since I use the same script every time, right? So I just wanted to repeat that for you about the handout. I'll also put a link to that blog in the description here of the video. There we go. Now I've lost track. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 for one side and 3 for the other because I'm working in odd numbers. Now remember that the odd number, increments of odd numbers are always more pleasing to the eye than even numbers. So you're going to want to do, clusters of 3, 5, 7 instead of 2 or 4, for example. Now we're going to have a torn edge there, and I'm going to want to have a torn edge here on my other side. So let's go ahead and tear the other side, and I'm just going to try to do a small little piece, leaving me with a wider panel there that I can use as part of the layout background. This little piece that I'm tearing off right now is just going to go right in the garbage. There we go. So now I've got 2 really nice torn edges there. And we're going to have one, again, let's do things off center a little bit. Again, that's going to be a little bit more pleasing than doing everything else centered up. So we need a wider side over here, and then we'll need a narrower side. Now I'm thinking already, I might not be able to fit all these strips in the spaces that I have, right? Because when I recreate it all, it should recreate as the full page. There we go. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just adhere a few of these strips down. Just give me a little space here to work with. We're going to get a visual of where we're at, and they won't be so unwieldy to work with. There we go. And now I need a gray one with a torn edge. So I'm using my repositional tape burner here. And I just ran out. I thought I might, so I have another one ready to go right in. You see how easy it is to just change those out. If there's anyone out there who's not tried our Creative Memories tape runner yet, and especially our repositional tape, highly recommend it. I'm going to leave a little space between these so that pretty swirly paper shows through. How's that looking? I think that's looking really pretty, huh? So now we need another blue strip. I believe we might have done tearing last year or maybe the year before. When you're in Karen's Croppers and you go to that album section and you look at some of my past Technique Tuesday albums, I think there's one in there. Well, I know there's one in there for a torn heart. So we made a big kind of jumbo heart that we had torn layers on. And that was really pretty too. And then we need gray. And you can use this technique with any papers, any collection. It doesn't need to be a winter collection. It doesn't need to be snowy. You know, this could be a great beach layout too, a great water layout. I'm already seeing kind of water and beach, so you could think sand, you can think water, or just kind of an elegant layout using, you know, any of the papers. Creative Memories had a big year-end sale, and a few of our collections have kind of sold out right now, but we're going to be getting 2 more product releases this month yet. We had one on January 2nd, and there's going to be 2 more. And one of those, I believe, might just include the first secret box for the year. Creative Memories is going to do something a little different with the secret boxes this year. If you purchase all 4 of the quarterly secret boxes, you're going to be eligible to purchase a special 5th secret box in December that's going to have a special gift in it. But only those who purchase all of the previous 4 secret boxes will be able to purchase that 5th one. And you know, you guys, seeing leaving the spacing that I've done and where we've come here and where we've ended, I think I'm going to maybe just stop right there. I mean, I could do 3 and 1. And then I have a little bit of a torn on one side. I don't really want to squeeze in. Let's see, I could do 2. I could break that rule of odd numbers. And we could have 3 showing on this side, 2 on this side, and then we have that big center panel. Why don't we do that? I think I'm going to do, just taking a moment to pause and think here. I'm thinking this is what I'm going to do. So that means I have 2 extra strips here that I could either just cover up, or since I've used the repositional tape runner, I could use my multi-purpose tool and I could remove these strips and save them, because I'm going to have 1 extra strip left over in addition to these 2, and I could use these to make a second layout. So now, see how I was able to easily lift that up with the repositional tape? And the repositional tape comes out in clear little dots. So what I would do with the strip is just rub it so that those little adhesive dots kind of ball up. And I just brush them off into the garbage. And then my sheet does not have any adhesive on it, and I could save it. So I will do that part later, but I wanted to show you that in case you're not familiar with the repositional tape. And really, I'm using this was a specialty item, the different color multi-purpose tool, but let me use our regular one that's in our product line, and you'll see that mine, I should clean it. I should have cleaned this here to start the new year, right? But it kind of gets gunked up a little bit with the adhesive, and I just would clean this with a little rubbing alcohol. We'll take off that that adhesive really well. And then I'm going to rub off any of the repositional tape here that was left behind. I'm going to have my strip, and now I have the 2 strips that I'm going to adhere. So I'm going to work from the outside edge and work in. So I have a blue strip next to the blue panel. That's how I ended over there on the right side. And it kind of looks like this was torn right there from the blue. So let's kind of make that a little bit symmetrical here with the left side. I sure love that pretty torn white edge. Now, let's see. Now, if I was smart and thinking, I could have used this piece right here that I just pulled up, and it already had the adhesive on it, right? I could have laid that right down. But I was not thinking. But I do have this one that still has half of the repositional tape on it, so let me go ahead and use that. Kind of I like when these things happen when I'm creating here on camera for you, because things like this happen to you also when you're scrapbooking, and you can kind of see my thought process. You can see how I work it out and make it work, right? Remember, there's no right or wrong in scrapbooking. Do what makes you happy. Do what looks good to you. And now I'm going to put this leftover sheet here right in the kind of center it in my open space. Gonna get it on the bottom edge. There we go. So now it's nice and straight. So isn't that pretty? I just love all these the white torn edges here that we're getting. We're getting a great effect. It kind of looks like these torn pieces are coming right out of this background paper, doesn't it? Kind of like there's openings in it and it's showing through. I love the addition of the gray there too. That makes it a little bit more interesting, doesn't it? And it really looks like, you know, this piece is the background and it's coming through that blue. Okay, now to finish my layout, what I've done is I've already pre-cut some mats. I double matted the mats. I used the blue plaid paper from the Flurry of Fun paper pack, and I've got some navy cardstock here. And I played around with some different shapes. And, you know, originally I kind of was thinking something like this, something like that. And then I've got a big chunky title I was going to use. And then I was going to put a little segment here of a border maker piece, and I was going to kind of do something like that or like this. So that could be one option for you. But I thought it looked a little bit linear. You know, we've got these really dramatic stripes going down the sides. So I thought to kind of break that up a little bit, it would be maybe more interesting to put these on an angle. Okay. That's going to give a little bit of kind of movement to the light and more, you know, we've got some movement already with these stripes coming down, the snow coming down. And now with these on a tilt, I think that's going to be a great effect here. So it's kind of nice that I have the pieces and I can kind of work out my spacing before I start to adhere them, because it is pretty tight there on the top and bottom of the sheets. And I will give you all the measurements here. And then, like I said, I'll have that handout for you on my blog. So I think that's where the top ones need to go. Just a little, that's going to have to come in and in. Let me go ahead and adhere this. So I punched a border using our border maker system and our Mittens and Flurries border maker cartridge. This was a cartridge that came out with the Flurry of Fun collection. And so I've punched a border, and then I cut it off of the cardstock, and it looks like it's 1 1/4 inch. So I have a 1 1/4 inch strip of the bright white cardstock that I'm going to put underneath this punched border. And this is a great example of why, another reason why, I've already shown you one reason why the repositional adhesive is so great. But here when we have something that's really intricate and it's hard to put adhesive into these small spaces, we have the clear little dots. So any of that adhesive that's going to show through, we're just going to be able to rub it out and rub it away. So I have a little bit overhanging there, and then I have a little bit showing through the mittens, and I'm just going to rub it and get it up. It looks like I have a little bit of a white edge of the cardstock showing there, so I'm just going to give this a little trim with some scissors. There we go. And now I have a little bit larger strip of the blue plaid paper. This blue plaid paper was really pretty. I didn't give you the length, I gave you the width. So the length of this I did was 6.5, and I'll talk about that in a minute, why I did 6.5, okay? 6.5, and it's 1 1/4 again. So I did a 1/4 inch larger piece here of the plaid. The plaid is 6 3/4 by 1 1/2. Okay, and now I'm just going to center this piece on here, and I'm going to be able to move this around more easily now. The reason why I went with the 6.5 inch length was this piece here. These two pieces were from a variety mat, and it was kind of big how it was assembled on the variety mat, and I really wanted to use the big chunky titles, so I cut that variety mat apart, and the variety mat itself was 6.5 inches. So the plaid paper behind this piece is 6 3/4 again, so it's the same length as our previous strip. The plaid paper there is 1 1/2 inches, and then the title piece is 1 1/4. Okay, and then the little hello, it looks like it's about 7/8 of an inch by 1 3/4, and then the plaid piece is 2 inches by 1 1/8. Okay. And now I'd already had these mats pre-cut. If I hadn't pre-cut them, I would have done it all in the 6.5 inch length. Okay. But these were leftovers from another layout, so they're going to be a little bit smaller. So mine are 6 1/4 by 4 1/4. And then the blue mat underneath is 6 by 4. But like I said, if I had to do it all over and I hadn't had this cut, I would have made these 6.5 inches also. Okay. Now my small ones are going to be 4 1/4 by 3 1/4. And then the blue navy cardstock mats are 3 by 4. And then again, you could use them horizontally or vertically. Now I was thinking about the kind of photos that I would use with this layout, and it would probably be snow photos. And typically if I'm taking some landscape photos, I'm going to be taking those in the horizontal position, right? So I thought that I would use this horizontal orientation would be probably more likely to have photos that I could trim down to use in that orientation versus vertically. So now I've got everything spaced and centered, and I'm going to just start adhering them down. Ooh, I didn't have much left on that one either, did I? Well, I don't have another one handy, but I have our regular tape runner handy. So let me just go ahead and use the regular tape runner. Lots of times when I'm creating, and especially creating on camera, I really like to use that repositional adhesive, because that way if I make a mistake, I can easily correct it. But we've got our old standby here, the regular tape. That's going to be great. And don't be afraid to use that repositional adhesive, because over time it's going to become more tacky instead of less tacky, and it will essentially become permanent, even though Creative Memories can't call it permanent because it's repositional, right? So it'll be more repositional, you know, immediately when you're doing the layout. If you come back a year later and you want to try to pull that up, it's going to be really difficult to do. Now, while I'm going ahead and adhering these, I do want to give you guys information about my next virtual event, and that's going to be a virtual crop with the Creative Life Scrapbooking team. You guys all know that I'm one of the founding members and a designer with Creative Life Scrapbooking, and we have been holding, oh golly, for lots of years now. We started back in 2015, 2016, so we have been doing virtual crops for a long time. And we call them PJ parties, and they're super fun. And we give you ideas for double page layouts that hold a lot of photos and that you can use your stash. So you could substitute easily with other papers. And when we use our tools, we also give you tool substitution ideas in case you don't happen to have that specific punch or border maker cartridge that we use. So they're really they're versatile layouts that you can use no matter what kind of photographs you have. We meet on Zoom. We create 4 of the layouts live on Zoom, and then you're going to get pre-recorded videos for 3 more layouts. So you're going to get 7 layouts total. You're going to get the video instruction. You're going to get the live interaction with us on Zoom, and you're going to get printable handouts. And everything's recorded in case you can't be live with us on Zoom. And the first one is January 24th. That's a Friday. And right now, you can register for all 4 of our PJ parties for the entire year at a discounted price. So if you go to our website at creativelifescrapbooking.com, purchase the combo, and you're going to get that at a discount. And you'll be all set for all 4 of the PJ parties this year. And we have some great, very talented designers who are going to be joining us for our PJ parties this year. Alrighty, you guys. So I finished that, and really I like how that's at the angle versus going, straight up, and how it works with the vertical strips. Now, thinking of the layout, really versatile. You could make it going this way, right? If you had some, it certainly works with this border, obviously not the title, but this could be a little area where you could do journaling there instead, or depending on, the type of photos you have in the papers. So please use this technique to duplicate this layout. Take a photo of it with me and share it with me in Facebook at Karen's Croppers. Go to the album section, look for the Technique album title number 66, and you'll be entered in my January door prize drawing. All right, everybody, thanks so much for watching, and I cannot wait to see your versions of this layout. Hey, it's me again, everyone. I had forgotten. I promised to show you a look at the Artsy add-on kits. So for most of our newer collections, Creative Memories has these Artsy add-on kits available. Now, unfortunately, the Flurry of Fun Artsy add-on sold out right away when it was released. So that is how popular these have become. But I wanted to show you what you get in these Artsy add-ons. They are $8, and you're going to get a pack of just 12 of our variety mats. So if you like our variety mats, but you don't necessarily need a whole entire pack, the Artsy add-ons are a great way to get those. So again, you're going to get some that are double like this that you can cut apart, use both as journaling boxes, or you could use it as a photo mat. They're double-sided, so again, you've got just a photo mat that you can use here for a 4x6 photo. You could cut that apart, or you could punch it. Again, you could cut these apart for photo mats or for journaling, or you can adhere a 4x6 photo on it. So let me just go through and show you what you get. And then I really like these that have the titles on them, because I really like having a big chunky title on my layout. So I'm able to cut these apart, these larger titles, and use those on my layouts. So I think that's a great way. So here's the one that I used for my layout. And I thought, it was just kind of a big piece all in one. So I cut it apart into 2 pieces, the hello and the cold. And then you also get a pack of some embellishments. Now these embellishments coordinate with the embellishments that come with the collection. And if you love the embellishments like I do, and I have to admit, I prefer embellishments instead of stickers. So I am really glad to get more embellishments. So you're going to get a nice little assortment here of the embellishments. And they are just like our card kits. If you've not yet discovered our card kits, you'll notice that they're all numbered and lettered, labeled. So this is going to make it really easy of how to create a beautiful embellishment cluster. This is one of the questions and comments, that feedback that we hear a lot from scrapbookers, is that they need help of how to create attractive clusters. They know, we all know that it looks better to have a cluster of embellishments and or stickers. You can combine stickers with embellishments or use either or. But they look better when they're clustered together versus sprinkled out singly all over the layout, right? Maybe we all started scrapbooking that way years ago, but we know that the clustering and again doing groupings of odd numbers is what looks most pleasing. So what you're going to do is you're going to open your pack and you're just going to look at the numbering here. So let's just use this big piece, 3. So let's get all of the 3 pieces. So we have 3A, 3C. That means there's a 3B somewhere. There's a 3B. And I think that's all there is. There's 3 pieces for this 3. And we're going to turn them over and we're going to layer them. And now how do we layer them? We're going to look at the packaging right here, and it shows how to make these clusters. So, kind of similar to how they just happened to land in my hand there. We'd have the sign over there, and then we'd have the boots layered. And if I were doing this, I would use foam squares under the boots and under the signs, and that will give it a little bit of depth and dimension, and it'll look like the trees are in the background. All right, so those are the Artsy add-on. Some of my customers at my last weekend retreat discovered these for the first time. They loved them. They showed their table mates, and then everybody ran and purchased all of the Artsy add-on kits that I had at the time. So I really recommend that you give these a try. All righty, now that is it for this time. Thanks again, everybody. Bye-bye.